And we're back with the 5th installment of the most shocking NBA stat line series. How's it going, fellas? My name's Andy, and everyone seems to enjoy this series, so I thought I'd just keep making more of them. For those who are new to the series, I basically show you guys some of the weirdest, most surprising box score stat lines throughout NBA history that players have recorded. I'll put the links to the previous parts in the description below, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check those out too. Alright, let's get started. Number 1, Timofey Mozgov. Nah, I'm just kidding. Okay, number 1, CJ Watson. In a game between the Chicago Bulls and Brooklyn Nets in 2013, CJ Watson recorded an amazing stat line of 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, and 1 turnover. In his NBA career, Watson was probably most known for being the backup point guard to Derrick Rose in Chicago. But he was a member of the Nets for this game, and this was one of the last games of the 2012-13 season. Coincidentally enough, the Nets and Bulls faced off a few weeks later in the first round of the playoffs. Watson didn't really do much of anything in that series, except one time he blew a wide open dunk and also got into a fight with Nate Robinson. This was also the series where the Bulls came back from being down 14 points in the last 3 minutes of the game, and Nate Robinson just took over. He finished the game with 34 points and the Bulls won in triple overtime. Next up, we have Hakeem Olajuwon. I know I had Hakeem in a previous video, but he just has a lot of crazy stat lines. In this game though, it wasn't really crazy, more so very surprising and strange. On January 30th, 1997, Hakeem scored 48 points against the Denver Nuggets, but he did not attempt a single free throw in the entire game. He went 24 of 40 from the field and 0 for 0 from the free throw line. Now, I think that's ridiculous. How does that even happen? You know, he spends most of his time in the paint, so you'd expect him to at least draw some fouls or something, especially since he attempted 40 shots from the field. It doesn't make sense at all. He shot a good percentage too, so the Nuggets wouldn't even foul him on purpose or anything to stop him. The Rockets as a team only shot 9 free throws in this entire game, so it was kinda weird all around. The rest of Hakeem's stat line wasn't amazing by his standards, but the 48 points on 0 free throw attempts stood out. He was 34 years old at the time too. That's really impressive, but he was the second best player of the 1990s, so what can you expect? Next, we've got Manute Bol. Throughout his career, Manute was anything but ordinary. He was officially listed at 7'7", 200 pounds. And currently, he's the only player in NBA history who finished his career with more blocks than points. But that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at a game on March 3rd, 1993. In this game against the Phoenix Suns, Manute all of a sudden became Steph Curry or something. He shot 6 for 12 from three-point land in one of the most shocking performances ever. Keep in mind, he played a total of 624 games in the NBA and made only 43 three-point shots in his entire career. So in this one game, he made 15% of his total threes. He also only made 10 threes in the entire 1992-93 season. So 6 of them coming in one game is beyond normal. But if you look at the context, I guess the Sixers had nothing to lose, so they just let him keep firing. They were 19-34, while the Suns were 40-13 and made the finals that year. And now we have Kevin Martin, one of the most underrated and forgotten scorers in the 2000s. In his younger days, he was known for drawing a lot of fouls. He was like James Harden without the passing ability or beard. On March 17, 2007, Martin recorded a stat line that we hardly ever see. He scored 20 points on 1 for 8 from the field, 17 of 20 from the free throw line. The only field goal he made in the entire game was a three-pointer. Unfortunately, I could not find any highlights of this specific game, but I don't think anyone wants to watch Kevin Martin shoot 20 free throws anyway. Martin had 6 seasons in his career where he averaged 20 plus points per game. He was a deadly scorer, but he didn't really do anything else on the court. He got buckets, made free throws, shot threes pretty well, and that was it. And last but not least, we have Mike James and his entire 2005-2006 season. This was kinda recent, but I'm gonna assume most people aren't too familiar with Mike James. He was nothing more than a role player, a backup point guard for mostly his entire career. He has career averages of 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game on 42% shooting. But in the 2005-06 season, Raptors coach Sam Mitchell was like, "Hey Mike, why don't you just turn into the other MJ for one season?" Apparently it worked, because Mike James averaged 20 points and 6 assists per game on 47% from the field and 44% from three-point land. He also averaged 37 minutes per game, which was about 10 minutes more than any other season. James became the first Toronto Raptor in history to record 4 straight 30-point games. From April 5th to April 14th, he averaged these numbers. Jeez man, that's insane, especially for him. This was probably the greatest contract year in history, cause after this season, James got rewarded with a 5-year $24 million deal. Then in his next season with the Timberwolves, his numbers dropped back down to normal, and he went back to being a role player. That's all folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other ones on shocking NBA stat lines. You'll probably enjoy them too. I'll see you next time.